Hey, back with another video. Again, of course, thank you if you watched the last video where we went over past the topology discovery, where we did some packet capturing with Wireshark and going over the GUI of it, different techniques of how we can take a look at breaking down packets, so doing the packet analysis. But nonetheless, video is going to be pretty adjacent to that one in a sense, I guess. We're going to be doing some scanning and remediating vulnerabilities with OpenVAS, so open source tool. Now, what we're going to be doing is a few different things. We're going to do some scanning with OpenVAS initially, similar to what we did on the last video, but this time, obviously, we're going to be looking at vulnerabilities specifically versus just looking at communication between devices. And we're going to be securing Active Directory access with LDAP. And we're also going to be validating the security changes with OpenVAS that we make as far as remediating those vulnerabilities after the initial scan, what we do find that we may not like to see on the network. So what OpenVAS is for Open Vulnerability Assessment System, and it's pretty much from an older version of Nessus, known as GNessus. It's a free tool again. It can be quite comprehensive, honestly, in the scanning techniques, as well as assisting with finding vulnerabilities that can be used in conjunction with other Kali tools, right, to help test environments more efficiently. So what I want to do first is going to open up Kali, my favorite uh, here. Okay, let's take this out. All right, and now that we're in, let's take a look here. Up here. And it should just take a few moments. From my experience, the last few times I've opened it, it probably took about 3 to 5 minutes. So I won't let you guys go through the agony of waiting for that. So I'll just put you on the other side when it's fully loaded. All right. So got it up. It didn't take as long. Let's go here. So it initially opens in the terminal, and then it opens up as far as the tool online for OpenVAS. So you log in. All right. Now we see the front page, the main front page of the Gray Mold Security Assistant, as you can see here, right? There's a few options in this area. Got the scan management, right? And then you have the asset management for monitoring and presenting a lot of where a list of hosts where scans can be performed. You have SecInfo, right, which can be used to organize vulnerability databases configuration works, to organize target ports and scanning types. And then you have extras, right, which allows for web UI configuration itself, and admin, which used to organize user and feed management updates, and then help, of course, help for hits and systems and stuff like that. So now we're just going to briefly explore OpenVAS and then perform the scan with the application. So now that we're logged in, we're going to review some configuration files to familiarize ourselves with the scanner. So we take a look at configuration here. We're going to head down to port list. Right. And then let's take a look at here. All right. So now it just shows all the ports that the Nmap scanner will check against. List designed against the Nmap version, as you can see, 5.51. And this is a very invasive scan as it takes place against all the TCP ports from 1 all the way to 65,535. And then focuses on the famous UDP ports, which are more selectively chosen at a total of 999. And UDP port scanning can take a while longer to complete, so knowing which ports are important can be a great time saver. So reviewing this would be highly advisable. So let's actually go back here. Let's take a look at our scan config, right? Now, these are the scanning types, which are installed by default to OpenVAS. So when performing a scan, well, one of these is typically chosen. However, customized scans are possible. Let's actually take a look at full and very deep. That's what she said. So under, let's see, the network vulnerability test family, right? The scan is very intrusive. It just provides a great deal of depth, and it looks for a very wide range of faults, and some of which might not be very useful depending on the device being scanned. For example, this scan was checked against, let's see, Cisco, right, and CentOS, and Amazon Linux security checks. If you know the network has multiple facing devices with these services, then this type of scan may be very productive. And understanding the network and device scope is important to maintaining useful scan types and the results they're looking for, right? So let me take a look at another type. So let's actually take a look at full and fast. Now, again, these scan types show that it's similar to the previous one, except it's quicker on the performance level. And with multiple tests for like buffer overflow and multiple OS, and there's also a section for Windows, right? Um, it just shows you different, different scan types with the speed that you can use them with. And then we take a look at the network vulnerability test purposes within this area. We can see multiple tests used against secure socket layer, LDAP services. If you take a look at these, you can have a better understanding of what exactly the test is going to perform. And we can actually choose any of these. Actually, I'm going to choose, let's see, one that I like. There it is. I'm going to choose this one. All right, perfect. So we can see the details of the scan configuration and who it belongs to, right? Which is the IT Grundschutz, which is a German agency. They specialize in security, and all the authors have located this vulnerability. And we also you can see the current value and the default values it has been assigned to test against, right? So what we're going to do now is actually do one of our own. We're going to perform some scanning procedure using OpenVAS. So let's actually go here, right? And we'll be able to take a look at our scan wizard. Select me. There, there, perfect. All right, so we're going to name this. Okay, what's going on? Oh, let's see. Damn it, AT&T. All right, so let's do full and fast ultimate, and our target host. Okay, let's do that. Sure. Everything else check this out. We can see the bottom. And we're going to go to create. Start immediately. Good. All right. And so as we can see, it's been requested. And from doing this multiple times, quite a few times, it's initially going to show requested, right? And it's doing a very it's just a scan. And I like for at least for me mentally to see it at least start at 1%, and then gradually, continuously keep refreshing the page to see it increase until it's finally completed. Now, say I've done this multiple times because I just want to stress, at least for this particular scan that I do, it takes quite a while. When I say quite a while, at the most, it's taken maybe an hour. Um, Sometimes it can be a lot less. Hopefully, it's on the a lot less side because I'll actually be performing more than one scan in this particular video. Uh, but I'll place you guys, of course, on the other side of when the scan is completed so we can actually take a look at the vulnerabilities that it does find. So So the scan has been completed. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at the details of the report. So when we see more breakdown of the results, right, mainly referring to the dates and the scanner type, right, in which this case the OpenVAS default type used against the full fast scan, right. Now, I'm going to click on the report value, which is the one, to actually take a look a bit deeper. All right, so a slightly more breakdown is given with the high, medium, and low results to be considered and confirmed. We're also provided with the log output, which might contain useful log information. Useful information logs, however laborious to look over, can hold information about possible vulnerabilities which are yet undiscovered. Remember, it's possible some of the results could be false positive. So let's click on the date. Here we go. All right. So let's see. Our highest vulnerability is the 9.3, which looks like it's the bulk of what is driving that rating so high. Let's actually click on it and take a look at what's going on there. So we see a more detailed output regarding this vulnerability, and Greenbone details that LDAP could be leaking data via an enumeration, which would allow information about server and site names to be disclosed. And this could actually aid an attacker who is trying to credential details for use with logging into devices or impersonating devices on the network so that they appear legitimate. Now, additionally, it could also be used for social engineering. Now, if the attacker was to learn key information, they could pose as an employee and let's say call the IT office for additional help and then use some keywords to hint at the fact that they are legitimate users accessing the device. And Greenbone also provides us with a solution, right? Um, with the solution to consider if we are not concerned about compatibility with certain types of OS devices. Now, this could be very useful and something we will be implementing during this video as well. Now, I'm going to actually apply the secure Windows update. So I'm actually going to be applying the update. It's going to resolve the vulnerability that I just discovered. So I'm actually going to swivel over to DCL1 here. Open this up. All right. Open. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to put you guys on the other side of this install when it's fully completed. So it has officially rebooted the server on DCL1. So I'm actually going to swivel back over to Win 10 here. I'm sorry, it's Cali, not Win 10. That's me. Right, there we go. All right, so now that we've updated the patch, right? So now what I'm gonna do is validate the security changes with OpenVAS. So once changes have been made to any system, it's vital that a recheck of the system is made in order to confirm that updates, patches, or whatever security configuration that has taken place and are functioning correctly as expected. So I'm actually going to perform a rescan. So I'm actually going to be rescanning DCL1 with OpenVAS to confirm the changes have had an effect on the system and that we configured the system correctly. So looks like OpenVAS did not kick me out yet. So let's go back here. All right. So let's do, it's going to let me that here requested. And then it should take, yeah, and we'll see that it generated a second number, or the number 2 rather, in parentheses, meaning that it's working on the second report now as far as the status being requested. And I'll place you guys on the other side of when the scan is done. It's started at 1%, so we can actually take a look at the secondary report to make sure everything is configured properly. All right, so the secondary scan has been done, and I'm going to click on the report's value total, right? And I also want to note that the medium, or the severity rather, have changed. So in fact, we'll see this sometimes rescanning the device, which can highlight new vulnerabilities not found in the first attempt. The changes that we made had no effect on the SSL and secure cycle layer certificates. Therefore, the new vulnerabilities were something picked up on the second scan attempt and strongly related to the SSL. And this is excellent practice, and it shows that the scanning a device is not enough to confirm that it has passed all the tests, certainly in the production environment, right? Multiple scans are commonplace, right? So let's actually click on the most recent scan. So let me, come on. Okay. All right, so now we see we removed the problem with the LDAP leaking data with the particular input for the Microsoft Windows vulnerability, right? So it's no longer present as it has been corrected by installing the Windows update, patching that. And this tells us about the CVSS value, right? The detection result, again, the solution and detection method used to pull the information. But nonetheless, this brings us to the end of this video, where we scanned and remediated the vulnerabilities associated with the server DC01 with OpenVAS. And we done a few things. We did some scanning, we did some security Active Directory access, and we validated those security changes with OpenVAS as well. This one was pretty fun, pretty cool. Definitely can't wait for the next one, where we be implementing some backup and recovery. I'll see you there. You stay curious, stay secure.